Hey guys, I'm back with another video for you. Basically, if you want to just know how to pick a proper wig, then stay tuned. Okay, so today's video is basically just gonna be on the good and the bad in trying to pick out a wig, because there's so many options out there now. In order for you to pick out a wig, you basically just have to know what you're looking for in the end result. So what you want your hair to look like, what you want it to represent, let alone actually picking out the texture, whether you want straight, wavy, curly. It's so much out there. So basically that's all I'm going to be talking about today. And trying to get you a better understanding of how wigs work and what you want. So I guess we'll start off with the cheaper. I'm basically just going to show you a Halloween wig. I know it's kind of weird, but I want to show you what I kind of sort of mean. So this is the wig that Britt wore for Halloween, and I'm showing this to you because it was like £6. So basically telling you the less money you want to spend, in theory, you get what you pay for, basically. So if you're not trying to spend a good coin, the hair is not going to last you as long, and sometimes it's not going to be constructed as long. Constructed as well, and yeah, stuff like that. So we're more so talking about how it looks right now. So the more realistic you want it to look, the more you have to pay. It's kind of what I'm getting at. So in this wig, it's just a costume wig. If you want it for like one event or something, I wouldn't say spend like £100 on some website to do a wig or whatever. And you do have to realize that if you want your wig already made, it costs more than buying the bundles and making it yourself, if that makes sense. So don't mind my background. I'm trying to clean and pull out wigs. So anyway, for a wig that is not as expensive, you're gonna basically get something that's not structured as well, so it doesn't look as realistic. So as you see, they sealed the top, but when you wear it, obviously it doesn't look as natural. Do you see what I mean? So you get what you pay for. The inside construction is basically just a bunch of wefts on a net. If I can get it to open. So yeah, a bunch of wefts on a net. If you were to wear this, for one event, it should be fine. Like Halloween, it was fine. But if it blows in the wind, I see my finger. So it's basically just a bunch of tracks sewn onto a net, maybe by a machine, by hand, whatever. Probably a machine. It looks like a machine. But that's basically what I'm trying to get at. So you get what you pay for. Like if you blow in the wind, you're gonna see gaps. Like it's a Halloween costume wig. So that's about it. Even if you go on websites and you see, I'm in England, but like wigs and stuff online for £10, I know of a lot of websites where you can get wigs like that. And the thing about it is, if you want hair that is real, it's gonna cost more than synthetic hair, which is that. Now I don't have a synthetic wig to show you because I left it back home. But basically, with synthetic wigs, you get them structured like that. So sometimes the parting doesn't look natural, or the way that the tracks are sewn onto the wigs is not as constructed as natural hair wigs or wigs that cost you a good coin. So basically, I don't know if you get where I'm going with this. But basically, you get what you pay for. I'm gonna just say it the whole time, you get what you pay for. I have had some really nice synthetic wigs, but you have to make them look realistic. Sometimes you can straighten the hair and curl it. It just depends on the brand. You have synthetic wigs that are just a synthetic wig, which means it's not natural parting and it doesn't look as realistic. They just seal it any sort of way, go about the business, kind of like the top of this part. So obviously it's not a proper, it doesn't look realistic. And then you have lace front synthetic wigs, which is basically like a lace front wig, but it's just not real hair, it's synthetic hair. So sometimes they can be really good, sometimes they last forever. It just depends on what look you're going for, if you want to spend the money or if you don't want to spend the money. I'm not knocking them, they come in handy a lot when you just want to throw something on and you don't have money. Like if you just go to the beauty supply store and get a synthetic wig, always try them on. Always make sure that they sit good and that you can get them to be realistic, because sometimes, like if I was to pluck some hair around it, well, this is a bang, but if it was just around the front, then obviously you'll be able to see all of that, so the track and the spaces. So sometimes you can't really pluck it to be realistic, but if you can get it to work for you where you think it looks like, you know, some synthetic wigs are like, yes, yes, honey, yes, but some of them aren't. So, you know, you just have to always try on a wig first, see if you can manipulate it. I always do it in the store. They give you a stocking to put on, and if I can't get it to look the way I want, or sometimes the curls are too much so it doesn't look real. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, so you can have your synthetic wigs that are really cheap and affordable, like the Halloween costume wig that is actually well constructed, or you can get something that might cost a little bit more, but sometimes the length makes it look not as realistic, or the color, or the way that the hair is flat pressed or curled, anything like that. It's really confusing. But moving on from synthetic wigs, which are good wigs depending on the brand, you just kind of have to suss it out, see if you can get it to look as realistic as possible, and if you like the way it looks. The next type of wig that you'll probably get, I know now that they have the crochet wigs, you can get those. So basically you can use the pre-looped hair, and this is my faux locks that I haven't used in a while, but basically you can get any sort of crochet hair wigs you want, as long as it's crochet hair. You can get the ones that are pre-looped, or the locks, the braids, the box braids, the twists, anything, or you can get the ones that twist it out like this, just loose hair. Sometimes they come pre-looped and sometimes they don't. So this one, obviously you'd have to loop yourself. You can make these wigs yourself, but I know now that they're selling them, so it just depends what look you're going for. It'll be kind of like a twist outy look, but it's crochet hair. You know, it's all over the internet. So the pre-looped ones, you can get it in lock style, braids, anything. It's kind of a little bit easier. Or the not looped ones, loose hair, and you can get the twist out look with the loops, anything, and just make a wig yourself or buy it like that. With this, you know, it's kind of a little bit easier because you can kind of see the parting space when you make them. Sometimes I'm gonna make one, but I just need time on my hands, so I'm gonna have to get the materials and make it, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about, I guess, in a little bit more detail. But the nice wigs to have as well, because you just throw them on, they look realistic, and you know, it's pretty simple. You get them in whatever lengths you want, and it's a good thing about weaves and wigs is that you can do whatever you want. You can color them most of the time, or get them in different colors. You can purchase them in different colors. You can do a lot of stuff with them. So, you know, it just makes it funner without damaging you and her. So, yeah. Moving on to human hair wigs. Now, I'm going to show you this one because it's the cheaper option, but this wig is not the cheaper option. This is my baby. It's not the first wig that I made, but this is my baby. Basically, I'm just trying to show you a closure wig. So these are closure wigs. This is my Boho exotic hair wig. So you see how it's a little bit more realistic. Closures, let's start off with the basic, are these. Don't mind the elastic band that I put in there, but they're basically just 4x4, this one little middle section of your hair. It takes up that. Wait, I missed one. Before you get to closure wigs, you get to a U-part wig, which is basically this part, this little black part here without the closure. So if you were to have a U-part wig, you would leave the middle of your hair out. The U-part wigs could be way wider than this. This is quite a tight little leave out. You can have them where, sorry, your hair is left out like this much, as much as this much, just a little one. But basically U-part wigs, most people get to kind of blend their own hair. I wouldn't do it if your hair doesn't match the hair that you're trying to use. So like the weave hair, I wouldn't do that. It makes it way complicated to blend your own hair. But obviously, you know, people do it where it can work, so it's not like it's impossible, but it's just something, you know, you should keep in mind if you're getting a U-part wig. So then you go on to closure wigs. We can get there now. And closure 4x4, it just gives you the natural part in space in that middle part, and you can do like a little side part as long as you want it to start there. It just depends on how wide the closure is. It does look natural because this is a good closure. You can pre-pluck a closure and do baby hairs and all of that, but it's just a little bit more difficult because obviously on the sides her, you know, that's your natural hair and this is where the wefts are, so you can't really do baby hairs unless you want to cut the wefts. So it's possible, but it just depends on what you want to do. This wig is literally almost 3 years now, but it's just because I paid a pretty penny for this 3 years ago. It's dirty right now, it's oily because I just took it off to let my hair breathe, and I'm quite happy I did that, but now it's greasy. But yeah, this hair has lasted me a very long time. It's still going strong. It's just beautiful. So moving on from this, I'm going to show you my Lavy Hair wig, and I'm going to show you the inside because we're going to be talking about frontals. Now it has a few holes in it from when I did my elastic band, but that's about it. So frontals, frontal wigs, this giant front part. This is the lovely thing that allows you to pre-pluck and do baby hairs and all that type of stuff, because it takes up the front of your hair to like maybe about here. Sometimes they come like just above your ear. It just depends again on the company and how wide the frontal is, as well as how wide the closure is. So basically it gives you all that natural parting space for the whole front part of your head. So yeah, all of that, you know, smells nice. You can do baby hairs. My baby hairs are definitely long. You can do all of that good stuff, and it gives you way more versatility. Another step up from that, now they have 360 frontals, which is basically this around the whole side of your head. If you were to have a frontal wig that wasn't a full lace like this one, then in the middle here you would see basically the wefts where they're sewn in, so they'd look like this. So you'd have the frontal and then you'd see the lines where they're sewn in, so when it blows in the wind you can see the wefts. This however is a full lace wig, so you see the difference. It doesn't have the wefts in it because it's a full lace wig. But I just wanted to show you frontal because I don't actually have a frontal wig yet. It's impending. So yeah, next step up from frontal wigs are full lace wigs. So this is my Lavy Hair full lace wig. You know, I can part it in any sort of space and direction. Full lace wig, you can part it anywhere. If I can get to the bottom because it's just all over the place. So yeah, part it anywhere. I messed up the bleaching on the bottom part, don't even worry about that. But the bottom part, if you put it up, it has a frontal in the back. So the 360 frontal is basically all of this combined, but it's 360, so it's the circumference of the head, so it's all this part. Don't mind the holes. Like I said, I was doing something to it and I poked some holes in it. And then you can part it in the center, the middle of the head. You know, you can part it over this side, everywhere. Just part it everywhere. It's a lace, full lace wig, so you can part it anywhere on the whole entire wig and it'll be fine. Now these, in theory, depending on the hair company, are more expensive. However, this wig was cheaper than my Boho Exotic wig, only because my Boho Exotic, the Boho Exotic Studios is a company that has greater quality hair than Lavy Hair. No diss to Lavy, but you know, theirs is definitely more affordable. This hair is nice. It's just very different to my Boho hair, and it looks dry right now, but it's not. It's definitely just the way I dyed it. I didn't realize the colors were so life sucking, but it looks pretty when it's on. You know that. So yeah, I don't really know what else to tell you. Typically, because you have a lace closure, it's less hair, so it's less money. If you get 2 bundle sets with a lace closure, it will be cheaper than if you get a lace frontal. It will be cheaper than if you buy a pre-made wig, or if you buy the closure and the bundles to make the wig yourself. Totally just depends on what you're looking for. Whether you want to leave your own hair out, you can get a U-part. If you want a little bit of parting space but not a lot of parting space, and you're not into all the baby hair and stuff, then you can get a closure. If you want to do the extra parting space and be able to do everything on the whole front side of your hair, you can get a lace frontal. If you want something that doesn't cost you a bunch of money, and you're not really concerned, you can get a synthetic lace frontal wig. It just depends on what you want. You can get the crochet haired wig, which is basically any type of crochet hair, the faux locks, the box braids, the twist outs, anything. It's so much options out there for you. If you want to pack all your hair away and still be able to do so many versatile styles, you can get a full lace wig. Just depends on what you want to do. Me myself, I did realize that I do like the lace frontal wigs, so for now on I'm going to be buying lace frontals and the wraps to go with it. Now if you want a full lace wig but you're not really concerned about basically the middle part of your head, I would just get a 360 frontal wig. It's really confusing because it's debate whether you should just get a full lace wig or a 360 frontal wig. If you just want to be able to manipulate the front part of your head and put it up in the back, you can get a 360 lace frontal wig, which is the one that I said goes all the way around the circumference of your head, but it has the lace and then it's the wefts in the middle. That, if you make it yourself, requires less bundles because the 360 frontal takes up obviously more space. In the upcoming, I'm sorry, I got grease all over my desk. In upcoming times I will be making one of those, but I'm just trying to give you an idea on what to expect when you do buy synthetic wigs. Like I said, they are the cheap option. They do have lace front ones. You just have to look for the quality. You just have to make sure that when the wind blows, your tracks aren't going to show and it's going to last you a while. You know, like I said, they have really good synthetic hair wigs. I'm not knocking them. They have the ones sometimes that are just half wig, so it's just their hair and you make it blend with your own hair. I don't really quite know how to explain it, but it doesn't have natural parting, it doesn't have all of that. It's just the hair, and you just pop it on your head and you make it blend. So it's basically like a U-part wig where it's just the hair, but it doesn't have the U-part. It just stops along her and then you just brush it over or twist it out and just make it blend with your own hair. So I hope this was informative. I hope I didn't jibber and jabber on too much to make it hard for you to understand. Yeah. So thank you guys. Keep watching, subscribe, share with your friends, do all of that stuff, because the more I get, I literally have a giveaway coming up. I have some bathing suits to try on and I need you guys to be a part of this. I need us to get our numbers up. Subscribe, share with your friends, tell your cousin, tell your auntie, let everybody know, tell your brother. Everybody is important, everybody helps, you know. So anyway, I will see you guys later.
So I'm back with another video for you. That was a bit extra.